Hello, everyone, and welcome to this free embodiment masterclass. My name is Kristen, and I am very, very pleased to welcome you here. Whether you're here live with us or whether you're watching the recording, know that this is landing with you at the perfect time. And as we start to move in and kind of land in this space, just for transparency's sake, I want to name a lot of times when I do these free master classes, it is because I will be offering opportunities for folks to deepen with me through a paid program and opportunity that's coming up. So just know that that will be coming at the end. So if you enjoy this space, you enjoy this time, know that it doesn't have to end at the end of this hour. So again, my name is Kristen, and we are here to talk about and also practice getting embodied. So I'd love to start then with just letting ourselves land here, right? We all have a lot of different things that we've been doing throughout the day before we found ourselves in this space. And so I want to invite us to just take a couple breaths to land, connecting in with our body, connecting in with our breath here. If it feels okay for you, I invite you to take your eyes away from the screen if that feels good, and just come into relationship with the space where you are right now. Just noticing any colors that might be pleasing, any shapes that might be pleasing. If you're outside, maybe you want to notice the plants that are around you. If you're inside, maybe you want to notice where light is entering your room. If there's any texture or art around you that might be pleasing. And if not, maybe we just want to look up and feel that we are contained, we're held, we're in a space that's holding us. And as we do that, I'll invite us to continue moving our gaze around our space if that feels nourishing. And if not, we can bring our attention back either to the screen or to our own bodies through our breath. Just feeling our breath enter in through our nose and exit our body, maybe through our mouths. I want to name that if breathing feels hard to access, that invite yourself to have a really long exhale here. Sometimes when I am moving really fast throughout my day, I'll forget to let all of the air out of my body, and then it makes it more challenging to invite that air in. So give yourself a few maybe sighs. Maybe you want to make your mouth like an O and push air out in a more forceful way to really clear your body here, to really honor the way that our breath, the element of air, can really help to purify our bodies. And then I want to invite you, if it feels good, to just give your body any kind of like wiggles or stretches that might feel needed right now. Trusting yourself, trusting your body here. Maybe you want to stretch up and take up a little bit more space. Maybe you just want to wiggle or reposition. The point here is really to let ourselves be more comfortable in this space, in this landing. Now I'll invite you to take 3 more breaths here, just breathing in and out, really tuning in to your body, to your breath, feeling the way your body expands and contracts with each breath. Feeling the spaciousness that can be created as you breathe. And continue with this deep breathing, tuning into your breath for the remainder of our time together if that feels nourishing. If not, we can come back to kind of our normal breath cycle. And I'll invite you again to just, once again, remember where you are in space, right? Maybe lean further back into the seat that you're in. Maybe you want to kind of feel your feet on the ground, stomp your feet a little bit, and just feel yourself in connection with the physical space where you are. Sometimes when we are doing so much online, it can be easy to unintentionally kind of like let our energy become disembodied and only in the virtual space. And since we're here talking about embodiment today, it's going to be just like extra nourishing if we let ourselves still stay in contact with where we are in physical space. All right. So now that we're landed, anyone who's here live, if you want to share in the chat how you're feeling after that landing, if anything shifted. hmm And so today we're here to talk about embodiment. We're here to talk about how embodiment can help us to move out of our mind. I'm seeing in the chat here that we're feeling a little bit more relaxed, which is so wonderful. And a great reminder that it doesn't actually take that much time for us to kind of shift our energy, so to speak, that like even 4 minutes of breathing and kind of conscious awareness and presencing can really shift our energy. And that's so important to remember because when we're talking about being caught in overthinking and overwhelm, right? For many of us, I think we have, we've been taught very much to worship the intellect, right? To be very connected and identified with our thoughts. And I know for me, it's so easy to kind of get lost in this swirling of all my ideas, of all my thoughts, all that I want to do and accomplish. And that can really almost time travel me out of this present moment. I'm also seeing folks are feeling present as well. And so when we come back into our bodies and we give ourselves a few moments to just come back, to get embodied, it can really help us to act with more intention, right? And be able to hear the messages that are actually really appropriate for us in this moment. I know that for me, as someone who identifies as a creative person, as an artist, as a writer, as a creator, I'm never short on ideas of what I could do. And that has definitely kept me stuck in the past, right? Trying to decide what is the best thing to do, not able to decide which of the things to do. And I have found that the more that I honor embodiment, the more that I slow down, the more that I practice like very conscious present moment awareness, the more that what I need to do, the action step becomes, it arises more easily as opposed to kind of my past self or maybe old ways of doing things that were I need to think my way to the solution. And so I just need to keep thinking and thinking and thinking, and then I'll find the answer. This idea of embodying and getting embodied, it kind of puts that on its head and says that actually the answer is here. It's here right now. I don't need to find it. I just need to kind of de-weed and kind of declutter a little bit so that I can see the gem, the magic that's already here, just waiting for me to notice. And so I think that it can be really counter to what we've been taught, how we've been socialized, this idea of slowing down to get ahead, right? This idea of dropping out of our mind and into our bodies to find solutions. It can be, just very counter to what we've been taught. And so when we are able to stack evidence, right, in these couple moments of deep breathing and presencing ourselves, noticing and marking that we feel relaxed, that we feel more present, can be a way to help just convince our minds that actually this is really important work, that what looks like we're doing nothing because we're sitting in maybe meditation or we're doing breath work or we are just tuning into our felt sensations, it seems like we're doing nothing. And yet that work is potentially bringing us closer to those ahas that are waiting for us. I know that many of us are here right now, or at least I believe that many of us are here right now to really bring forth like new ways of being, new ways of doing things, new ways of leading, new ways of holding space, new ways of showing up, that we're here to kind of ignite that. And it can be really challenging to try to find these new ways, embody these new ways, while still using the old kind of mental, overthinking, intellectual ways to try to get there. And so it is very much a practice. This is a practice of coming back into the body, of honoring that our bodies hold wisdom, of remembering that our minds are part of our bodies, not separate from our bodies, and remembering how much wisdom can be accessed in the present moment. Because that's the other thing I know for me with overthinking and with struggling with so many ideas, is it does time travel me, right? Like it brings me forward in time where I'm thinking about what could be, what could happen, what are the possibilities, or it brings me back in time where I'm thinking about what had happened, where I'm comparing what I'm trying to do to what I have done. And it's not really allowing me the spaciousness and the infinite possibilities that actually are with me right in this present moment. And I know, or I feel as though it sometimes limits me, right? It limits what I believe is possible because I'm so attached to this idea of what had happened or this story of that I'm telling myself of what will happen. But when I come back into present moment, get embodied, I become open and receptive to the infinite possibilities, even the possibilities that my mind can't actually even comprehend right now. And so I want today to talk about using our felt sense, our senses to get embodied, right? There are a myriad of ways for us to get embodied, and some of them work for some of us, and some of them work at certain times and not at others. And so I think of it as kind of having like a toolkit to get embodied, where we have a bunch of different tools, and at different times, different tools serve us better than others. And that it becomes a practice of kind of pulling the tool out, working with it, and seeing what it can do for us. And so I want to start with just our felt sensation, right? Of coming back into relationship with what we are currently able to actually feel. And so I'll start that by inviting us to maybe rub our hands together. If it doesn't feel really good to rub our hands together, you can just like rub any part of your body together, right? That could be the bottoms of your feet, your arms, and just start to tune in to the feeling of touch, right? The receptivity that's available to you. Maybe you want to use one hand to kind of be the touch hand and one hand to be the receptive if you're doing on hands, and just begin to feel, what does it feel like to really to be touching yourself right now, right? To be giving yourself maybe some more pressure. Maybe if you're on your hand, you want to explore and just feel the felt sensation of your hand, right? This coming back in and using like touch to ground ourselves is actually something a lot of us do without thinking about it, right? When we're nervous, we might start like rubbing our hands together. We might start kind of like rubbing one of our fingers. I know some folks, myself included, might start like kind of like rubbing our arms. This feeling our own boundaries and tuning into our sense of touch is something, again, that our bodies will sometimes do when we are caught in the loops of overwhelm. And the invitation is to drop into the feeling and away from the mind. So a really nice one that I find myself doing a lot is along my fingertips and just like running my thumb along my fingertips, feeling the tips of my fingers, feeling sometimes like the pressure of my nail. I'll find myself doing this a lot when I'm caught in overthinking, and I notice it and then try to bring myself back into my body to tune into it. So I'm not just mindlessly rubbing my fingers, but I'm intentionally feeling my fingertips, right? Intentionally connecting in with that ability, that magical ability that our bodies have to feel our surroundings, to feel physical materials. I also want to name that, like, if touching our own bodies feels inaccessible, we can also do this by like rubbing our hands on like the surface of the table where we're sitting, right? And just feeling like the smoothness, the firmness of the table, and letting that touch sensation bring us back, right? We can do this with any object, right? If like physical touch is feeling like not ideal, we could just pick up a pen and begin to actually like feel the shape of it, right? Explore it like you would if you didn't have eyes, and really tune into your senses. So if you haven't been doing this, I'll invite you to choose what feels accessible right now, and really tune in to your senses, letting your fingers really be your eyes and explore an object or your own fingers and hands and your body, tuning into that sensation of touch. What does it feel like to feel this object? Is the shape of it satisfying? Is it strange in your hands? Does it feel familiar? And as we're exploring with our sense of touch, whether it's with a physical object in our space or with our own hands, fingers, or body, really just letting ourselves get curious, right? There are some beings and that this is how they experience the world, right? Is through their sense of touch. And can we let that allow our minds to get curious? Because sometimes when we're stuck at overthinking, at least for me, it closes down my curiosities and it gets me into, I need to know something, it needs to be right. But when we get curious about new ways of experiencing things, new ways of seeing things, it can open up a lot of possibilities and a lot of creative ahas. So I'll give you a few more moments here to keep using your sense of touch to explore your environment right now, right? Feeling something soft, maybe your, fabric of your clothes or the firm surface of the seat or the table that you're near. Maybe your hands are feeling really activated now too, and you'd rather maybe feel the ground with your feet and really tune in to what it feels like to have your feet on the ground. There's no right way to do this, all just invitation here. Mm. Mm. Mm-hmm. Continue staying with this activity for as long as feels good, tuning into that felt experience of your environment or of your own body. And I'll also invite you, if you are a journaler, if you like to kind of reflect with writing, I'll invite you to drop into your journal and kind of reflect on how this felt for you. You can also share in the chat, or if you feel comfortable, come off mute and just share what this experience felt like for you. There were challenges or resistance to it. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I see here. I found it more helpful to feel the surface of my table versus my hands. I like the touch of my table. It felt really smooth. Yeah, thank you for that. Yeah, I found that very pleasing too when I put my hand on my table and started doing that. I think that there are so many different ways to approach that sensation of touch. I know a big one for me as well can be like having a hot cup of tea and feeling the heat of the cup. There are so many ways that we can invite this kind of tactileness in a more intentional way into our lives, right? Where we create space for us to feel the pleasure that it is of being embodied, right? That we get to experience our relationship, we get to commingle with other form, right? Whether that, is the table, is a soft fabric. I know that I am very attracted to like soft fabrics and blankets and find so much comfort in like wrapping myself up in a soft fabric and having the feel of that fabric on my skin. And I think that it's really easy to forget that these simple pleasures, right? These simple felt experiences of a smooth table, of a soft blanket, right? Of a warm cup of tea, I know even one of my favorite forks that I like to eat with, it has this heavy weight to it. And there's just such pleasure in holding the fork in my hand that it makes eating a more pleasurable experience, right? And so I name these things to say that when we create space for ourselves to feel that it can be pleasurable to be connected with our bodies or our felt sense, our environment, it actually like encourages us to ground more without really having to do very much except use and surround ourselves by things that are enjoyable. I think of that when I think of how I like to decorate my space. Another great way to get grounded, as I named before, is anchoring into our space and really seeing where we are. And I like to adorn my space with items that make me feel good to look at, whether that is art made by me or friends, or just plants or things that are shaped nicely or brightly colored. And this really is a huge practice for me for grounding, of just letting myself gaze around my space and let my sense of sight remind me that I am here, that I am now, that I am held and surrounded by beauty, that I am like in a contained space. All of that can be really nurturing and really help us kind of break those thought waves, like the spiraling thought waves, by really letting ourselves anchor into our space by gazing at things that are pleasing. This can also be a really beautiful practice to do like at a park and like sit at a bench and like gaze at the nature that's around you and really let yourself like drink it in, soak it in, feel in awe at what is around you. I know that I have a tendency when I'm caught in overwhelm, my eyes glaze over things. I don't capture the minute details that really are what I think makes our world so beautiful and special. And so when we give ourselves a moment to observe the natural world or the space around us, it can interrupt our thought patterns by helping us to get imaginative or start wondering about things. If it's hard to access a park, the sky and the way that the clouds are is a magnificent way to really ground into our physical environment while honoring the kind of like constant movement and changing nature of life. Cloud gazing is a huge part of my personal self-care practice. I find myself using it when I'm driving, like when I'm stopped at a stop sign or stopped at a light, like letting my gaze go up, take in the sky, and then bringing my focus back to what I'm doing can be a really great way to stay present and like really embodied while I am in motion, right? Traversing our world via car, which can move so fast, and it can be really easy to get caught up in the energy of the traffic. So again, talked about tuning into our environment through our sense of touch or through our visuals, right? Using our eyes, our sense of sight to ground. These are just two of, 5 common senses, right? That can be really, really potent as far as helping to interrupt thought cycles of when we're really, really stuck in that kind of overthinking place. I want to also name too that the experience of like curiosity and awe, right? When we start to feel something smooth and really just let ourselves experience that sensation, it can open up space for new ideas and new perspectives to land in our bodies. Again, I think we're very much trained in this society to think that our mind, our thinking selves will get us to the solution, to the answer, to what we're seeking. And while that is sometimes true, I have found that more often than not, that it is really when I'm getting in tune with myself, with my environment, with my present moment, that I can actually feel into what is most needed now, what is the best next step, rather than, well, having like the endless kind of possibilities that my mind will generate. So I invite you to take a couple breaths with that. I've said a lot. When we're talking about getting embodied, it can feel really like hard to grasp, really kind of like a concept that's hard to really hold on to. And I want to just name that these two experiences that I just named, of like using our sense of sight to land in our environment, using our sense of touch, are two ways to bring us back. I'll invite in a few more of our senses, right? So music, right? Sound in general can be a really powerful way to, again, like get in our bodies, get grounded, especially music that, I was gonna say like sings to our soul, right? Like there is certain music I think that we all probably can relate to, that like we hear it and like something in us like tunes into it. We awaken, we drop out of whatever we're doing, and like that song like is all we can hear, so to speak, right? And I invite you, like in the next few days, like after this, to tune into that and like notice if that happens, right? Whether you're at a grocery store and it's a song that's playing over the radio, whether you're in your car and you have your stuff on shuffle, or you're listening to the radio, start to take note of those songs, of those musics that really pull you back to this moment. I'll name that I'm someone who tends to have music playing all the time. And so I go in and out of being really aware of the music, and then it's just kind of like present, but I'm not really tuned into it. And it is so interesting that there are certain songs that as soon as they come up, like I'm present, I'm in my body, I'm here. And so if we can begin to notice those songs, we can make like an embodiment, like balm playlist, so to speak, that we know that like we can put these songs on, and that will help us come back to our bodies, help us drop into the present moment. Again, we're constantly changing. Songs speak to us at different times and in different ways. But when we begin to notice how sound, right, certain sounds can really bring us back into the present moment, we can start to kind of like design like spaces and time to listen to those music, right? To be embodied. I know a big one for me is like music that I love to sing, right? Not necessarily I want to sing in front of people, but music that I love to sing, that it just feels good for me to sing, is one of the biggest ways to get embodied and shift my energy. And so again, right, having a playlist of like my voice rises is what mine is called, of songs that we really like to sing. It's an easy thing we can just put on and like press shuffle, get to the one that feels good in that moment, sing that song, and then we're connected once again with our voice, right? This powerful force for creative expression, right? We are connected with our bodies and our breath, right? And again, we don't need to sound good if we're singing by ourselves. I mean, like, even if we're sitting in front of others, we don't need to sound good. The point is to connect in with that vibrational frequency of our bodies, of our voice, and use that, that sense, right? That sense of hearing and that experience of speaking, right? To bring ourselves back to ourselves. I know that, again, right? It's really easy to like put on a playlist and then my mind is off thinking about the grocery list, off thinking about what I need to take care of tomorrow. But I do have like one playlist that like, it's hard for me not to be present with every single one of those songs when they're on, because it's been catered by me. And so I invite you to really tune in to like, is there music in your life that like you can't not like bop around a little bit? You can't not want to like sing it or hum along. And if that's true for you, then I encourage you to like mark those songs, create a playlist for yourself, right? Gather that in one space so you have this beautiful toolkit for yourself that you can use to bring yourself back. So again, I've been saying a lot. If anything's coming alive for folks who are here live and you want to drop it in the chat, please feel free to do that. I've named many, but primarily three, tuning into three of our senses here, really, to get grounded, right? Using our sense of sight to ground into our physical space, using our sense of touch to feel the felt experience of what it is to be here now, surrounded by the things that we're surrounded by, and sound, right? Using and utilizing music to really come home. And yeah, I'm seeing here in the chat that I definitely have certain music that I listen to and I feel more embodied. Totally. Like sound holds a frequency that for each of us like speaks to our embodied frequency and can just encourage us to come home. I know that even like bells or drumming more so I think than any other, it's like very hard for me not to feel my body while I'm listening to it. And so I encourage you to really get curious and kind of play and see like if there is if you can create yourself a little like music medicine toolbox of songs that can help bring you back, help bring you home. And then as well of inviting in like the spirit of like pleasure into how we kind of like craft our lives, right? Like if you have a favorite bowl to eat out of or a favorite fork or a favorite mug, like, yeah, get it, use it, right? Because that experience of being in relationship with that thing that you adore is going to help you be more present in general. And yeah, so I'll just say that to get embodied, there are so many ways, you know, I could talk forever about all the different ways to get embodied, but I really just wanted to focus today on some of our senses, mainly because they're accessible anytime, right? We don't necessarily have access to the playlist anytime, but we do have the ability to tune in to the sounds of our environment and help that land. We do have the ability to tune into the way that things around us feel. I know for myself, like I'm a big like crystal rock person. And so having like rocks in my space that I can have in my hand is a really potent way to ground, right? So you could just keep that in your pocket, pull it out when you need it. And then our sense of sight, for those of us who have that, we can use that to anchor more firmly into our space. I'll name as well as that someone with glasses, that I even find that practice potent when I don't have my glasses on, because then I'm grounding not necessarily by seeing exactly what's around me, but I'm able to, still see like color, right? Or form in a very blurry kind of energetic way. But that can still help me ground, right? In the morning before I put my glasses on. So I want to just invite us here to drop in. I'm going to lead us through a really short kind of grounding practice because I've said a lot, named a lot of different ideas. It's likely that you're like, might be like thinking about all the different things that you could do. And so I want to just land us back in our bodies and name that the medicine has landed with you, a recording will go out, and that you have what you need within you, and that everything I'm naming here are just suggestions, right? There's no right or wrong way for us to come back in to present moment, to come back into our bodies. So I'll invite us here to just start deepening our breath. We can breathe in through our nose, we can breathe in through our mouth, whatever feels good for us right now. I'll invite you to just sigh it out. Do a couple more like that, just letting ourselves have a little sounding as we breathe. Hmm. Now I invite you to keep breathing here, keep tuning into your breath, inviting that air to fill your body. As you also imagine that grounding cords or roots can begin to extend out from the base of your spine, out from the bottoms of your feet and from your hips. These roots, these grounding cords can extend down, down into the planet. Sending these roots, these cords deep into the planet, imagining them pushing through rock and crystal, connecting with that deep, nutritious soil. Feeling them weaving with the planet, commingling with other roots, commingling with each other. These roots are stretching and growing and connecting us. And as you breathe here, I'll invite you to imagine that on your exhales, you can just let go of anything that doesn't serve you. Let it move out through your roots, giving it to the ground, imagining it move out of your body into the earth, seeing it as a beautiful offering. As you breathe in, I want you to imagine that you can breathe in that vital earth energy, that grounded, stable energy, breathing it in through your roots, through those grounding cords, inviting it to fill your body, to fill your energy. And as you breathe out, just letting go of anything else you no longer wish to carry, anything else that isn't rightfully yours, anything that doesn't serve you. Knowing that whatever you release will be transmuted and transformed into nourishment, that you are actually helping life by letting go, that through the releasing and the regeneration and the rebirth can happen. Again, take another deep breath in here, imagining that you can pull that earth energy up into your body, inviting that stable energy, that grounded energy to fill our bodies. Breathing out again, just letting everything go that you don't need to carry, anything you're ready to let go of. Again, breathing in here, inviting in earth energy, letting it fill you up all the way to the top of your head. Breathing out, letting go. I invite you to take 3 more cycles of breath like this, breathing in to pull that earth energy up into your body, that grounded life force energy. Breathing out to just release whatever doesn't serve you, anything that you need to let go of. Breathing in, receiving. Breathing out, letting go. Mm-hmm. I'll invite you to stick with this cycle of breath if that's feeling nourishing for you. You can leave these grounding cords, these roots firmly planted in the ground if you wish. Setting our roots down, setting our grounding cords down, using the power of our mind and that intention to root ourselves, connect our energy with the earth. It's a potent way to ground and to let our mind quiet and to release some of the noise. Mm-hmm. Ooh, and if anyone wants to share how this experience has landed with you, how any of what I've said or what we've moved through today has landed with you, I'll invite you to drop it into the chat or come off mute if that feels good. Just creating a little space to let your energy take up some space here if you wish. Thank you. Well, if you have enjoyed this space and you want to continue learning how to work with your senses, with the elements of this world, the earth element, the element of air and fire and water, I invite you to join me. I am launching a 4-week program. It is an energy activation and training program called Awaken and Embody Your Elemental Magic. So this 4-week activation and training program will help us to really embody our power, reclaim our power by awakening our elemental wisdom. The elements are energy and spirit and form. They are primordial, they are ancient, they are woven into all of life, and they are within us. We can awaken that elemental magic to help us birth whatever it is we're here to do, right? We hold these elemental primordial source codes within us, and we can reawaken that. We can dance in these powers, in these elements, and really learn from these ancient teachers, these embodied teachers, right? The fire, earth, water, and air, right? These archetypes are woven into life. They're woven into us. And when we awaken their magic, when we embody their magic and connect with them, we can live much more embodied lives. We can also connect so much more in with purpose, right? With spirit, with our own unique frequencies, right? With our own unique magic, so to speak. So it's a 4-week program. It starts September 1st. Each week, we're going to be connecting with one of the 4 primordial elements to awaken their medicine and magic within you. Each element is, as I said, already deeply woven into your being. And so we're going to be igniting and reattuning to this magic and this wisdom. Each week's going to build off the next, and we're really going to be embodying this elemental magic as we come home to our bodies and come home to our deep connection with life. So we'll move through each week. We'll work with fire, earth, water, and air. And I even include an extra bonus week. So it's actually 5 weeks. And we'll connect in with the element of spirit, right? Helping us to spark our creativity and center into our brilliance and really soften our expectations and our perspectives so that we can flow with life and expand and really create from a very generative, nourishing, and life-giving place. I feel really, really excited about this program. It's actually the first program that I've developed very much from that heart-led space, really letting the elements and my heart guide me to create this program as opposed to letting my mind lead the way. And so it is a very energetically embodying and activating in a igniting kind of way. And so I am really excited to start this program on September 1st. And for all of you who are here registered for this masterclass, I am offering you a 50% off discount code. Yeah, super exciting. If you register by, I think it's Monday, you'll get 50% off the programming. Super exciting because truthfully, I just know that this medicine wants to be shared with everyone. And so let me type in the code here. It will also go out in the email too. So So embodied 22 is the coupon code, and that'll give you 50% off. If price is feeling like a barrier, just reach out to me. This magic, this elemental magic, the wisdom of these primordial elements really wants to support us as we come back in to our embodied power, as we reclaim our own power as creative beings, as we really step into our greatness, into our purpose, and into our light. I'll say that I have worked very closely with the elementals for many years, and they have offered me a lot of support, a lot of guidance, and a lot of reassurance in a world that feels really outrageous and overwhelming most of the time. These ancient elements, these primordial elements that really like exist beyond like our human brain's ability to perceive time, right? They're that ancient. They can really help us to tune back into our original like source code so that we can really share the magic that we came here to share and embody the power, like our true power, right? The power of love, right? That immeasurable power of the heart way, as opposed to, so often in our world, power looks like powering over, power looks like domination. But through working with the elements and through working with this energy, power is so much less about powering over, right? It's so much more about being empowered, right? To have that inner sense of power where we all get to be powerful. We all get to rise together. We all get to have it all. It's not at an expense to anyone, but we're all able to work together. And I feel that way when I think of like how the elements are as well, right? So diverse in their being and yet so similar in so many ways as well. And so if that interests you, please feel free to register, reach out to me. If you're interested and you have questions, I'd love to talk with you about it. I'm really excited about this program. As I said, it is the first time of really following that heart guidance and letting that program be born through that intuitive, embodied essence, as opposed to being led by my intellectual thoughts and thinking what I'm supposed to do and how to structure it, etc. So yeah, thank you all so much for joining. Again, my name is Kristen. Whether you're here live or watching the recording, you are here at the perfect time. And if anything arises for you, please feel free to reach out to me and let me know what's coming up. I will end it here. Thanks, y'all.